Good evening and welcome to our 4th annual UAB Young Alumni Rising Star Awards. I'm Greg Berry, Assistant Director in the UAB Office of Alumni Affairs. When we were planning for this year's Rising Star Awards, nobody could have imagined that we would be separated during a pandemic. Unfortunately, we are unable to be together to celebrate this year's class, but that doesn't take away from any of their accomplishments. As we recognize these individuals tonight, just a quick disclaimer to our guests, since this is a virtual awards ceremony. Please don't be surprised if anything seems out of place or there are a few technical issues. If your video freezes, please utilize the panic button at the top of your screen. That's the button in red at the very top. It will quickly get your video back up so you don't miss anything. Right now, you can download a digital program of tonight's ceremony. You should see it just under your chat box. That will remain available for you throughout tonight's ceremony. This evening, we will be honoring 5 young alumni with diverse backgrounds. Despite their age, these individuals have been active in their communities, enjoyed professional success, and engaged with our university. They are trailblazers, not satisfied in simply doing. They feel the desire to forge their own paths. Our recipients were selected from nearly 40 nominations. Each is 35 years old or younger and have a degree or 2 from UAB. Our recipients not only demonstrate the ability to excel personally and professionally, they are committed to volunteerism and are still a proud part of our alumni community. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Monica Aswani. Last year, Dr. Aswani was recognized as one of our Rising Star Award winners. She is currently an assistant professor in the UAB School of Health Professions, and she serves on the School of Public Health's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, a role that she also had as a student. On top of delivering guest lectures and serving on panels, Dr. Aswani stays engaged with UAB by helping recruit and interviewing faculty for open positions. Dr. Aswani is a 2-time UAB graduate. She earned her Master of Science in Public Health in 2010 and her Doctor of Public Health in Healthcare Organization and Policy in 2018. Welcome, Dr. Aswani.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So first and foremost, congratulations to all of the award recipients tonight. I'm deeply honored and humbled to speak at this event, and likewise, to know I share the privilege of being a prior award recipient with such a distinguished group of alumni. I want to also thank the UAB Alumni Society for inviting me to speak tonight. This is the 3rd major speech I will have given at UAB. The first, an induction ceremony for the Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society. I waxed philosophical about the importance of failures on a day of celebrating their academic excellence. The second, a commencement speech at my own doctoral graduation. I impressed how legacies are not synonymous with the letters behind our name, but how we leverage them to elevate and promote others. Likewise, on the very day recognizing how hard we worked to obtain those degrees. And so, at this point, you may be wondering why would anyone give me another outlet to speak at UAB? I too sometimes wonder this, for the record, but if I'm to wax philosophical about what UAB means to me, it should be evident that for a master's degree, doctoral degree, and now a faculty position, UAB has not only supported me, but also allowed me to be my genuine, authentic self. In my tenure at UAB, not to be mistaken with for academic tenure, that's still on the bucket list here, a lot has changed. Unlike me, UAB rejoices in reaching new milestones of advanced age. Last year, the university celebrated its 50th anniversary. I remember a time, back in the olden days, if you will, when the Hill Student Center, Colette School of Business, and the Proton Center did not exist. As UAB has transformed, so too have I. My hair has started to gray. My dermatologist kindly reminds me that it's never too early to start Botox. And life has had its share of adversity. My dad passed away. My mother was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And my primary mentor at UAB passed away a month before I defended my dissertation in 2018. Exactly 1 month from tonight will be the 2nd anniversary of Dr. Meredith Kilgore's death. Similar to my dad, I think of him and miss him often. Of course, my recollections are easily triggered since all of our memories took place on this campus. I still vividly recall my first conversation with him in his office. He was my assigned advisor with the tedious task of signing off on a course selection for each semester. I, however, had to complicate things by trying to substitute my required biostat sequence with the upper-level calculus-based one. It was our first prolonged conversation, and Dr. Kilgore was not anticipating my request. Apparently, I was the first student to ask if I could take a more demanding calculus-based course load of my own volition. I know, shocking, right? "What will you do if you get a B?" he asked. And I pondered and said, "Last I checked, a B is still passing, so what do I have to lose?" I'll never forget his response. The possibility that you might have gotten an A. And in that moment, I was fairly certain Dr. Kilgore and I were going to get along just great. But also that he was referencing a book published in the late 1970s, House of God by Samuel Shem, a satire about medical residency training. Before his economist days, Dr. Kilgore was an ICU critical care nurse, so it seemed plausible that he may have read it. There was, however, one problem. As I contemplated my next witty retort in this sort of back and forth, I had to figure out how to avoid the protagonist's name in the book. The protagonist was called Fat Man. And so, as I was contemplating what to do, the silence was getting uncomfortable. And so I just took a gamble and awkwardly confessed, "Dr. Kilgore, you put me in a difficult position." And I explained the mental calculus taking place in my head and how I was trying to assess if he was referencing House of God while avoiding the character's name. I was rewarded with one of his genuine hearty belly laughs. He was surprised to learn that I had read it, and also that sequel, Mount Misery. He signed up on dozens of course substitutions during my time here, including one where I double booked a stats course with an econometrics course because both were offered at the same day and time. That was the first of very many meaningful conversations we had over the years. On his advice, I applied to the Lister Hill Health Policy Fellowship and went to Johns Hopkins. During my doctoral degree, he told me to consider applying for an NIH grant. Many here at UAB helped me navigate the obstacle course of writing a grant for the first time, and that was funded on the first submission. And as I worked on my dissertation, Meredith advised me to submit my work for an International Health Economics Association award. For 2 years, I refused, convinced my work wasn't good enough. In his honor and memory, I submitted that application package last year, and I was notified that my paper had been selected as the winner. I traveled to Basel last summer to present it, and it was a bittersweet experience since I could not share it with Meredith. It was also hard not to think, what if? What if I had taken his advice and submitted sooner? And whenever I ponder such immutable life choices, I'm reminded of the poem, The Blue House, by Thomas Transtromer. It is narrated by a man standing in the woods, looking at his blue house from a different vantage point. The new perspective is instructive and transformative, allowing the narrator to see his life both for what it is and for what it might have been. The sketches, he writes, all of them want to become real. He continues, we do not actually know it, but we sense it. Our life has a sister vessel, which plies on an entirely different route. Over the years, Meredith encouraged me to apply for many opportunities, most of which had a very different outcome than the examples I shared earlier. All of those accolades represent a form of survivorship bias. No one shares the impressive list of rejections I have also accumulated, although they too were a part of the journey. And as I reflect on my time here at UAB, I'm especially grateful that I've been able to fail without feeling like a failure here. The researcher who identified the BRCA1 gene, Dr. Mary Claire King, had her house robbed and her husband tell her he was leaving her the week she was supposed to give a presentation at the NIH to secure the grant that funded that work. Her mother, after learning of her daughter's upcoming divorce, was too distraught to watch her granddaughter. So Dr. King called her mentor to say she was unable to make the presentation. He told her to bring her daughter along and he would happily watch her. And when she said she didn't have a ticket for her, he said not to worry. He called and arranged everything as promised. At the airport, she was scrambling to pick up her daughter's ticket and make her own flight, while also helping her elderly mother catch her flight back home. Joe DiMaggio was standing in the ticket line, and he offered to help watch Dr. King's daughter for a few minutes as she walked her mother to her gate. It's easy to place yourself in the narrator's shoes of the Blue House and consider how many different ways her story could have gone. If I place myself in the narrator's shoes, I can say two things for certain. I'm confident that no matter what the future holds, I'm leveraging the foundation that was put in place here at UAB. And I will not age nearly as gracefully as UAB. But it is an honor to be a faculty member here because I recognize the gravity of how we can impact student trajectories. I know how so many along the way have changed mine, especially the late Dr. Kilgore. And as a fellow alumni, I celebrate every accomplishment of the UAB community. But the most important product this university has ever and will ever put forth is our students. And therefore, it's my great privilege to be among peers tonight who are clearly the exemplars of the talent, dedication, and hard work that UAB is known for in their postgraduate endeavors. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Swain. Tremendous words, tremendous story. Thank you so much for joining us. So without further ado, we are going to start recognizing this year's Class of UAB Rising Star Award winners. Our first Rising Star recipient is Dr. Ameen Barghi. In 2015, he earned his Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from the UAB College of Arts and Sciences and UAB Honors College. He's currently doing his residency in orthopedic surgery at Wake Forest University. As an undergraduate at UAB, Dr. Barghi received many honors. In 2013, he was awarded the Barry M. Goldwater Scholarship, a national fellowship for juniors pursuing research-oriented careers in math, the natural sciences, and engineering. A year later, he was selected as the inaugural Summer Research Scholar for the Center for Clinical and Translational Science at UAB. Then in 2015, he was named a Rhodes Scholarship winner, awarded to just 32 American students to pursue fully funded graduate studies at the University of Oxford, England. Currently, Dr. Barghi is involved with mentoring UAB students who are applying to competitive national fellowships. He also takes time to mentor pre-med students considering applying for out-of-state medical schools or doing gap years internationally. Congratulations, Dr. Ameen Barghi.
Hello everybody, my name is Ameen Barghi. I'm one of the 2020 recipients of the National Alumni Society's Rising Star Awards. Not to fear, I'm actually just in a preoperative holding room. This was one of the empty rooms that were in the hospital, so I took a second to record this video. I want to first start off by thanking the National Alumni Society, my mentors who nominated me, specifically Dr. Carl McFarland, and my mentors at UAB who helped me get to where I am today. Just a quick background on myself. I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. I actually went to Oak Mountain High School in Shelby County and went to UAB from 2011 to 2015. I studied neuroscience and was in the early medical school acceptance program as well as the science and technology honors program, which is led by Dr. Diane Tucker, and the business honors program, which is led by Professor Stephen Yoder. And those are some of the foundations, along with the neuroscience program, which gave me a springboard to where I am today. And I'm just to explain this room a little bit more, I'm actually a resident physician in orthopedic surgery at Wake Forest in North Carolina. And so after UAB, I was fortunate enough to apply and win the Rhodes Scholarship, which is a scholarship that selects students across America to study for any degree of their choosing in the UK, specifically Oxford. And there I studied public policy under the direction of many of the faculty at the Blavatnik School of Government. And I had a specific emphasis on healthcare and drug pricing and the pharmaceutical industry there. Afterwards, I worked at a management consultancy for a very short period of time and sort of implemented the things that I was learning in my degree in public policy there. After that, I came back to the United States and went to medical school at Harvard. And I was a little torn between neuroscience and neurosurgery and studying something more in the internal medicine fields, and eventually I settled on orthopedic surgery, which I'm very happy with. It's a great field that emphasizes a lot of procedures that do really well for patients, and we can treat patients across the spectrum of age and chronicity and disease severity. And so now I'm a resident physician training in that. Just to give a little bit of background on my UAB journey and sort of how I got here because of the things that UAB helped me with, I think when I talk to students now who are at UAB, I specifically emphasize things like humility and compassion and the ability to convey some of the things we find in scientific literature to lay folk, and understanding the things that are most important to the backbone of research and clinical decision making. I think UAB put a lot of those things into perspective for me because it was a university that was not so big that I got lost among the sea of faces, but not so small as to where there were not enough opportunities or there were a dearth of intellectual freedom and think tank-like activities. And so I think a lot of the characteristics that are really important for leaders in whatever profession that they may be in come from going to universities which emphasize that type of a collegiality or collaborative nature. And UAB definitely provided those for me. And so I believe that through my mentors like Dr. McFarland and Dr. Gregory Pence in the Department of Philosophy, and Dr. Tucker and Professor Yoder and many, many more that sort of go nameless. Sorry, I got a page that I had to respond to, so I had to cut that part of the video out. But what I was trying to say was that if you grow up in an environment and you learn in an environment with mentors who treat you like their own family, then you learn some of the qualities that you want yourself to mirror in training people younger than you and sort of having your own mentees. And so I think that was one of the salient points that, as being a student at UAB, helped me carry on to the work I do today. And I always love talking to people in the UAB community, including all the people on this call, and I always enjoy learning about where you are and what you're doing for your communities and your states and your environment. And the UAB community, alumni community, always excites me that way, and then there's always something to learn. So my email is my first and my last name at gmail.com, so AMENBARGHI@gmail.com. I'd love to connect with any of you and learn more about you, so feel free to drop me a line. Thanks again for listening, and I hope to meet some of you.
The next member of this year's class is Dr. William Bates. Dr. Bates earned a pair of degrees from UAB. He received his Bachelor of Arts in Accounting from the UAB Class School of Business and UAB Honors College in 2012, and his Doctor of Medicine in Dentistry from the UAB School of Dentistry in 2017. He recently opened his own practice, Bates Orthodontics, in the Birmingham area. Dr. Bates' time at UAB was very busy. He served as a trailblazer, recruiter, led campus organizations, and was honored by awards such as the UAB School of Dentistry's Joseph F. Volker Award. Dr. Bates is a member of many professional organizations, including the American Association of Orthodontics, American Dental Association, and the Charles H. Tweed International Foundation for Orthodontic Research and Education. Earlier this year, he led research on a 3D treatment that focused on a cervical pull face bow headgear appliance. Dr. Bates has also researched the decreased perceived thirst need in the elderly population. Congratulations, Dr. William Bates.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Will Bates, and I'm beyond honored to receive this Rising Star Award from the National Alumni Society. I'm a true Blazer through and through, and this award means so much coming from my university and alumni support. I graduated from the School of Business in December 2012, and then from the School of Dentistry in June 2017. I also recently spent a short time in Michigan completing a residency in orthodontics, but now my wife, Catherine, dog Rue, and I are back in Sweet Home, Alabama, and are starting an orthodontic practice in the greater Birmingham area. We are so excited to be small business owners and serve the orthodontic need of the Birmingham and surrounding communities. First, I'd like to give a big thank you to Dr. Breland, Mac, and the rest of the team at the UAB National Alumni Society. I'd also like to recognize Wes Smith, a past NAS president, for his recommendation, leadership, and support during this process. I started off as a young high school graduate looking to find my place in this world, and fortunately, I landed myself at UAB. This university molded me and provided me the outline and stepping stones for my future success. Working as a trailblazer, giving campus tours, developing lifelong friendships through Greek life and campus organizations, and only coming in as runner-up for the Mr. UAB competition were a few of the great memories I had from undergrad. After receiving my degree in accounting, I took that next planned step to the UAB School of Dentistry. There I did my best to instill UAB pride in a melting pot of college graduates. I'd like to think I made a little bit of an impact, especially since it was during that whole football shutdown ordeal. Anyways, I'm a firm believer in if you give, you begin to live, wisely stated by Dave Matthews. Throughout my career with UAB, I did my best to give to this university, this alumni society, and the Birmingham community. I want to see UAB succeed. I want to work hard to see growth here. But time again, this university steps up and continues to propel me forward for my future. I'm not sure I'll ever be able to match the return that UAB has provided me, but I dedicate myself to continue to reach that goal. The same goes for the National Alumni Society. Without it, we have no direction for the future and no support of the whole system. Our future is only as good as what we invest into where our past got us to today. Growing with this great university has been such an exciting road, and I'm so excited for the remainder of the journey ahead that the good Lord has in store for me. Thank you all for attending, and a big thanks again to the National Alumni Society for my selection. I am truly honored and look forward to our future together. Thank you.
The next recipient of a 2020 Rising Star Award is Dr. Casey Daniel. Dr. Daniel has 2 degrees from UAB. In 2009, she earned her Master of Public Health, and in 2013, she earned her PhD in Health Behavior, both from the UAB School of Public Health. Currently, Dr. Daniel is an assistant professor in the Department of Family Medicine and the director of epidemiology and public health at the University of South Alabama College of Medicine. She is also an associate scientist in the O'Neill Comprehensive Cancer Center here at UAB. In 2019 and 2020, she worked with the UAB School of Dentistry on oral cancer awareness activities. Earlier this year, she received the Early Career Achievement Award from the UAB School of Public Health. She has also been working with Dr. Paul Irwin, Dean of the UAB School of Public Health, to develop a MPH track at the University of South Alabama with the common goal of eliminating cancer as a public health problem in Alabama. Dr. Daniel is a member of the American Cancer Society's Alabama South Region Board of Directors, the North American Primary Care Research Group, and American Association of Cancer Education. Congratulations, Dr. Casey Daniel.
Hello, my name is Dr. Casey Daniel. I'm the Director of Epidemiology and Public Health and an Assistant Professor at the University of South Alabama College of Medicine. I am a graduate of the master's and doctoral programs at the UAB School of Public Health. Before sharing my story, I first would like to thank the selection committee for this honor, and I want to express my most sincere appreciation to Dr. Stuart Lockwood for nominating me for this award, as well as to Dr. Tommy Dotson and Dr. John Waterbour, who very kindly contributed to the nomination. Stuart Lockwood is one of the kindest people I've ever had the pleasure to know, and his enthusiasm and encouragement are unparalleled. I treasure him as a colleague, a friend, and someone who motivates me to persevere no matter what. And though words are inadequate, I cannot thank Dr. John Waterbour enough for what is now over a decade of mentoring, camaraderie, levity, and for being the Kevin Bacon of public health. My experiences at UAB were truly a turning point for me. I had no idea that public health was going to change my life, but it has. When I started my master's degree, I never dreamed that I would become enamored with research and subsequently pursue my doctorate. But my education at the UAB School of Public Health opened up an entire world for me and a passion I didn't know I had. A passion to impact the lives of others and improve health on a large scale, to truly make a difference in the world. In addition to the amazing education that I received, I frequently talk about the unmatched mentorship that I received at UAB. John Waterbour, Wendy DeMark Wanifred, Connie Kohler, Michael Brooks, Kara Manessis, Kim Whalen, among many others. These individuals remain my valued mentors, my friends, and are even my colleagues now. Their guidance has compelled me to make mentoring one of my highest priorities as a professor, to invest in my students as they have in me. UAB is where my story started, but my relationship with the university by no means ended with my graduation. I maintain collaborations and joint projects with former professors. I have wonderful working relationships and lifelong friendships with members of my cohort and with other alumni. And for me, UAB will always be where I found my footing and my purpose professionally. UAB will always be home for me, and I am so thankful for all the opportunities it has provided for me. Thank you again for selecting me as one of this year's Rising Stars.
Our next member of the 2020 class is Jessica Lopez. Jessica also has degrees from UAB. She got her Bachelor of Science in Molecular Biology in 2015 before earning her Master of Science in Biology in 2016. Both are from the UAB College of Arts and Sciences. She is currently an Associate Athletics Director for Academics at Northern Arizona University. As part of her position, she is building an internal academic support department for student athletes. Their vision is to reach the national standards of excellence in NCAA-mandated internal academic services through advising, specialized support for underprepared students, and interaction with coaches. At UAB, she worked as a graduate assistant for the women's basketball and women's soccer programs. She also served as a mentor for the football team and tutor within the athletics department. From 2012 to 2016, Jessica was a University Academic Success Center instruction leader and worked as a biology department representative and Blazing Start co-director. In 2019 and 2020, Jessica was the speaker for the UAB Wesley Foundation, serving as a mentor for girls. Congratulations, Jessica Lopez.
My name is Jessica Lopez, and I'm a two-time graduate of UAB's College of Arts and Sciences with my Bachelor's of Science in Molecular Biology in 2015 and my Master's of Science in Molecular Biology in 2016. I want to begin by thanking Dr. Jennifer Breland and the National Alumni Society for their selection of me in this honor. It is an absolute privilege to be on this stage with such elite company, alumni who have incredible pedigrees. In my collective 4 years at UAB, my most profound takeaway that makes me so proud to be an alumni and a part of this group gathered here tonight is that here, excellence is the standard and expectation. Achievement requires groundbreaking. I learned this early on in my first year of undergraduate studies when I took Biology 210 genetics class and met Dr. Shahid Mukhtar. Little did I know that his invitation in my freshman year to join his research lab of systems biology and functional genomics would be the most influential element of my entire academic career at UAB. He exemplifies achievement and demanded of me more than the standard of excellence. A true leader and mentor has the power to shape the minds of students in life-changing ways, and that is what Dr. Shahid Mukhtar is. Dr. Mukhtar fosters greatness in others and is able to mold those willing to pursue achievement. In my 4 years researching in his lab, he taught the most keen levels of attention to detail, expanded the way I examine problems, articulate through writing, and presented my work to others. In my UAB experience, I wasn't the typical undergrad student or research student, and even drew a few unusual looks from others in my early research days in the Shelby Biomedical Research Building, as I would often come in late to finish my projects wearing basketball shoes and UAB-issued practice jerseys. Throughout my time at UAB, I wore a multitude of hats. By day, I was a molecular biology student, supplemental instruction leader, peer tutor, and teaching assistant for genetics and introductory biology classes. But by night, I traded in a lab coat for sports gear, working as the women's basketball and women's soccer equipment manager and graduate assistant. I spent my 3 years of undergrad and my year of graduate school setting up and breaking down practices, assisting coaches with drills, working games, traveling with teams on road trips, and ultimately returning home to washing many piles of dirty laundry late into the night. A former basketball player myself, this connection to athletics was such an encouraging fuel and exposed me to the vast nature of college athletics. I was committed to never letting my wide variety of commitments and jobs wear me down or cause another aspect to falter. I'm beyond grateful to Dr. Mukhtar, who respected and supported me in all my ventures, understood my motor, and expanded the bounds of my work ethic. I also want to thank Dr. Stephen Watts, the Graduate Program Director of Biology, who further supported me in my numerous roles and responsibilities while I pursued my master's degree. His support and encouragement was another inspirational fuel fostering my success. In my roles today, I strive to mirror these standards of excellence in academia that Dr. Mukhtar and Dr. Watts exemplified. Following my graduation from UAB in 2016, I accepted a job as a science learning specialist for student athletes at the University of Oregon, where I worked dually in academia and athletics for 4 years, teaching science content and investing into the lives of young athletes. I entrenched myself in one of life's greatest opportunities, the ability to impact entire life trajectories through academia. The leadership and mentorship of Dr. Steve Stolp, the 23-year veteran executive director of academic support for student athletes at Oregon, was and is paramount today. In parallel with UAB, his standards of excellence and the knowledge and wisdom he imparted are why today I sit from Flagstaff, Arizona as the Associate Athletic Director for Academics at Northern Arizona University as one of the nation's youngest. The wisdom and leadership of Dr. Steve Stolp, Dr. Steve Watts, and Dr. Shahid Mukhtar have been pivotal in forging a pathway of professional success. My gratitude to these leaders who invested in me and manifest high levels of achievement cannot be quantified. And above all, my appreciation to UAB and the standards of excellence and achievement are what fuel me and make me so proud to humbly accept this award in the magnificent company of the 4 other winners here tonight. Thank you, and God bless.
The final recipient of this year's Rising Star Awards is Erika Rucker. Erika is a 2009 graduate of the UAB College of Arts and Sciences, where she earned a Master of Public Administration. Earlier this year, Erika began her position as 21st Century Community Learning Center Program Coordinator at Auburn University, where she works with grant-funded after-school and summer programs throughout the state of Alabama. She has been part of the Alabama Community Education Association, Jefferson State College Child Development Program, and Alabama After School Community Network. In 2014, she was named the Extended Day Director of the Year by the Alabama Community Education Association. Erika most recently served as Project Director for the Birmingham Regional Empowerment and Development Center. There she provided oversight for 3 21st Century Community Learning Center sites, 2 child nutrition sites, and 12 summer food service program sites. Congratulations, Erika Rucker.
Hi, my name is Erika Rucker, and I graduated from UAB with a Master's in Public Administration in 2009. The MPA program is a part of the College of Arts and Science. My journey to UAB kind of was happenstance. I'm from Birmingham, so when I graduated from Auburn University in 2007, I had no clue what I wanted to do. And so my thought was, let me just get into grad school and I'll go from there. I felt like public administration was a good fit because I at least knew that I wanted to help people. Didn't know in what capacity, but I wanted to help people. So through the program, which was, I had a class 3 times a week at night, kind of helpful. So I was able to work and go to school at night. And then I was done with the program within 2 years. But during that time, I met some amazing people who already were working in the field of public administration. They were working in local government, working in nonprofits, and it really helped me to network and kind of talk to them and figure out what exactly I wanted to do. I had previously worked in after school care during my time at Auburn University and during my time at Lawson State Community College years before. And I figured out that that was my niche. I wanted to work with kids in some capacity, but I didn't feel like I exactly wanted to be a teacher. And so during that time, I was able to just get a part-time job at an after school program. And before I ever graduated from graduate school, I actually got a full-time job with the company that I was working with. So I ended up progressing and working for after-school programs and summer camp programs with 21st Century Community Learning Center grants for 11 years. Literally, I worked at Birmingham Regional Empowerment Development Center, which is BREAD Center, for those 11 years. I've written grants, and have moved up through the ranks. Just recently, I was offered a position and accepted at Auburn University as the 21st Century Community Learning Center Program Coordinator. So I'm actually moving to Auburn this week, but I started working in August, but I'm actually helping to administer all of the over 100 grantees programs throughout the state. So my time at UAB literally helped to shape exactly who I am and what I do for a living. It really showed me how I could help people in a professional capacity and still make sure that my voice was heard. So I want to thank God. Number one, I want to thank my husband for always being my cheerleader. I want to thank my family for always supporting me and pushing me to, let my voice be heard and make sure that I let my light shine. So thank y'all for this award. I appreciate it so much. And go Blazers.
Once again, I would like to congratulate Dr. Ameen Barghi, Dr. William Bates, Dr. Casey Daniel, Jessica Lopez, and Erika Rucker, this year's UAB Young Alumni Rising Star Award recipients. Job well done. A big, hearty congratulations from the UAB National Alumni Society. Now, as we close, be sure to join us for other upcoming events. Next Friday, celebrate with us as we recognize 5 tremendous alumni at our 20th annual and first ever virtual alumni awards. Then on October 1st, take an artistic journey with Dr. Pamela Benoit as part of her homecoming. That evening, be part of Painting with the Provost as Dr. Benoit shows us how to paint blades and help celebrate the academic achievement of this year's National Alumni Society Scholarship recipients on October 6th. And if you're looking for a podcast, we've got one for you. Listen in to the UAB Green and Told podcast, produced through the Office of Alumni Affairs. The podcast shares the stories of members of the UAB community. New episodes are released every other week. The latest is Jason Aaron, a 2000 College of Arts and Sciences graduate who currently writes comic books for Marvel. On behalf of the UAB National Alumni Society, its board of directors, and Young Alumni Council, thank you for spending your evening with us. We look forward to being able to see you again in the near future. And as always, go Blazers.